Guys, aren't you supposed to be like hardcore punk people? Like, I kind of expected you to be fighting. And then when you're done fighting, just to be like, hey! And then do some cocaine or something. Why are we taking this to Judge Judy court? What's going on? Why? This video is brought to you by Keeps. Yes, it is. It's a ball treatment advertised to you by a balls man. The irony is never lost on me. Did you know that 2 out of every 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? Really? That's enormously surprising to me there, Keeps. Yes. I did know that. I actually started going bald at 25. I just started, you get that spot on the back of your head and you're like, oh yeah. Now I walk around and I see people with that little balding spot and I'm like, my dude, at some point you just got to embrace it. You're too young to just have it around the sides. You gotta shave it off. You gotta grow a beard. You gotta be like Fact Moy. Or, alternatively, maybe it's not too late for you. And that's where today's glorious sponsor comes in. I wish Keeps had been around when I was younger, because advancements in science meant that there are now treatments that can combat the symptoms of hair loss and help you keep the hair that you have. When I was young, like my dad's fully bald, and I'd always be like, Dad, do you think I'm gonna go bald when I get older? And he was like, yes, son.
You're fucked.
Yes, you will. I was like, oh, please, Dad, there's gonna be technology around that's gonna make me not bald. And I mean, I guess that technology exists. There are like hair transplants, but it's very dramatic and very expensive. But Keeps is around now, and I kind of just missed the boat on it because I went bald so young. It's like literally, if it had been a 10-year difference, I would still have a full head of hair because I would for sure be using Keeps. Because what? It starts at just $10 a month. Because normally it'd be like, oh, medicine, especially like elective medicine, it's going to be mad expensive. Not with Keeps. So how does it work? Well, there's no need to visit a doctor's office. Just have a quick online consult. Discreet package arrives at your door, and you can use it in the privacy of your own home. Seems a bit obvious. Be a bit weird if you were using it. I guess you could use it in the gym and stuff, but maybe just do it at home. So if you're noticing that you're losing your hair, there's one problem that's not going to solve itself. Go do something about it. For a limited time, go to keeps.com/brainblaze or click the link in the description below and you'll receive 50% off your first order. Amazing. Thank you, Keeps. Now today's video. Yes. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Brain Blaze. This one, Judge Judy goes wild in Sunset Boulevard. Craziest cases. That is a crazy ass title. I didn't come up with a title for this episode, did I? Because does that make sense? Sunset Boulevard must be a street. It sounds like it would be in Los Angeles, is where I'd guess. It's also to do with television, so maybe. Craziest cases. But what is Judge Judy doing there? Okay. What happens here? Welcome. Danny writes me a script. I'm going to read it. Never read it before. This is all brand new to me. And then Sam, our wonderful video editor, is basically going to add some brilliant memes in afterwards. That's how it works here at Brain Blaze. Let's just jump into it, shall we? Off we go.
I'm going to jump!
No!
Do a flip!
I've often wondered why exactly anybody in their right mind would choose to resolve their civil disputes and small claims in the Judge Judy studio on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, California. Well, there we go, Simon. We've explained the title in the first paragraph. By paragraph, I mean literally first sentence, which is also a paragraph, because that's how Danny rolls. Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it's like court is free. I guess lawyers aren't free, but are you paying for a lawyer? What's the benefit of going on Judge Judy? It's not like I am saving money on a judge. It's like, no, the judge does it for free. I mean, not for free. They're obviously paid by the government, but you don't have to, you're not going to court and be like, yeah, here's a 50. Thanks, judgy. That would sound extremely illegal. Also, a judge is going to be like, is this a joke? $50. I need at least 100 if you're going to get anywhere with your bribes. Come on.
Well, maybe this'll help.
I really don't think I should.
Yeah, you still don't think so?
Yeah, I understand that some people are just desperate to get on TV. Oh, well, that just explains it, doesn't it? But then you just end up looking like a piece of... I mean, most of the time it's not going to look good for you, is it? Because, look, let's face it, the people watching Judge Judy, they're not in it for, oh, it's beautifully resolved. They're in it for the, yeah, that guy! That Schadenfreude feeling. So no one likes you, and you're gonna end up looking bad. Let's just be real. But if I had a choice, I'd rather not waste my 15 minutes of fame getting interrupted and berated and lectured and ultimately spat out by the formidable pensioner Judith Sheindlin. Sheindlin. I suppose I could look that up, seeing as she is the main topic of today's video, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just not. She's Judge Judy, and we all know it. In front of millions of viewers. And that's another thing. Considering how much abuse this legendary star of daytime TV has consistently dished out to victims over the last 25 years, how come we rarely see a plaintiff or defendant just completely lose their temper and tell the gobby judge exactly where she can stick her gavel? I don't know, because she's a judge.
I am the law!
If this is an actual courtroom, she'll be like, yo, bailiff, get the out of here. But if it's not a real courtroom, I guess they must. I don't know, I haven't seen Judge Judy since the 90s, so I realise I'm not the best person to be making a video about it. But they just wouldn't tolerate that, would they? If in my courtroom, I'd be like, yep, shut up, prison!
Nope, stop talking, go to jail.
I know Bailiff Bird is a big guy, well there we go, but he's not that scary, and he's not going to start giving you a pummeling while the cameras are still rolling. Can you imagine Bailiff Bird is like, cut the cameras. It's time to take out the trash. No, bailiff! Well, it turns out there's a compelling reason for both, and the reason is that Judge Judy is largely just a big con in which there are no real losers. Of course, we all know that the TV studio is not really a courtroom. Oh, we all know that, do we, Danny? Oh, we do we? I haven't seen this since I was like 11. For me, it was very real.
So that was a fucking lie.
Judith, Judge Judy may have worked for over 20 years in the family court system of New York as a prosecutor and later as a judge, but she had retired by the time the show was first launched on CBS in 1996. Oh, I could have been 11. I was kind of exaggerating, but I was really young. I remember watching at my nan's house. Judge Judy is essentially just a form of televised arbitration which chooses to dress up its characters and scenery and rituals in the manner of a small claims court to ramp up the intensity. Nothing like the intensity of small claims court.
You want to see something intense?
But there's something I didn't know until today. The losers of each case never even have to stick their hands in their own pockets and pay out a settlement. For example, if Judy rules that a defendant should pay a plaintiff the sum of $5,000, the maximum amount in a real small claims court. Is that really true? $5,000 is the maximum amount in small claims? That sucks. Because going to non-small claims is really expensive. I had a nameless sponsor who I just had this very strong feeling, because they hadn't paid me in months, was going out of business, and they owed me not a small amount of money, like solidly into the 5 figures sums of money. And I was like, guys, you need to pay me. And they just ignored my emails. And eventually I was like, oh my God, am I gonna have to get a lawyer? And eventually, like, my kind of hard-handedness of being like, I'm gonna get a lawyer, and they ended up paying me, I think it was like, I don't know, most of the money they owed me, just from me being aggressive. And I was like, man, if they're not going out of business and they pay me, I've soured this relationship. Because I was a dick. And then they go out of business, and I'm like, f***ing right. And it was worth being right, even though I still lost a ton of money. But being right felt nice, so at least there was that. What are we talking about? Oh yeah, so the amount they owe me was definitely above $5,000. So I'd be like, oh my God, I'd have to like, and also they were in America, so I'm like, do I have to go? How? I don't even know how I'll do it, and I'm sure it'd be expensive. I'm like, oh no, guys, why? Why must you be dicks?
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
It's the producers of the show that write out the check to the plaintiff. The losing defendant actually walks out of the studio better off because they've been paid an appearance fee which varies from $100 to $500 on top of getting free flights and hotel accommodation and meals. So, what's to lose by appearing on Judge Judy? I don't know, your fucking dignity. If you think you're likely to win a case, you can look forward to a super speedy resolution, but also seedy, an instant payout and a chance to feel vindicated on daytime television. Even if you know you haven't got a cat's hell chance of winning, you can still turn up and get somebody else to pay out your settlement. Yeah, it's a win-win. It's a win-win-win. Everyone wins in this situation because the people turn up, they get paid. There's television made, they get paid. The television people pay out like a maximum of $5,000, which is a joke compared to how much Judge Judy makes from, being on TV. However that works, I don't know, advertising or something. But also, I know you know how I know that show makes a ton of money? Because Judge Judy makes like $200 million a year or something insane, which sounds unbelievable, but I remember seeing that originally. I was like, that is unreal. Judge Judy? It's insane. I really think that's true. 200, it's, what the? I was surprised to discover that even the audience in the courtroom isn't real. They're made up of professional extras who earn $8 an hour from sitting down and looking interested. Isn't $8 an hour substantially below the minimum wage in California? I said it was like $15. That came up somewhere. I make so many videos, I feel like, how would I know the minimum wage in California? It like definitely came up at some point. So it's probably wrong though. Wrong! So all those occasions in which Judy admonishes the audience or threatens to throw people out for making too much noise are just another layer of the theatrical pantomime, but it's certainly proven to be phenomenally successful as a slice of theatre. Although critics find something a little distasteful about watching an incredibly wealthy TV star mocking and condemning the mostly poor people who dare to stand before her for a tongue lashing, it turns out that this perceived portion of pantomime poverty porn is profoundly popular perennial pleasure for the public. Ah, Danny, challenge me. Ah!
Oh God, no. Please don't do this.
I can assure you, I mean you no harm.
Just a couple of years after the show was launched, it was knocking even the mighty Oprah to the sidelines on the way to becoming one of the highest rated daytime shows in history. And Judy was reportedly on a $45 million annual contract with CBS from 2012. Okay, so it wasn't $200 million. But $45 million is mental. Absolutely mental. Like, very, very few people hosting TV shows make $45 million a year. Very few. The guys doing late night, nowhere close. However, following an increasingly strained relationship, Judge Judy is no more, at least not in its original format. After 25 years, Judy slammed down the gavel on her final case in 2021 and has just moved into a slightly more funky and colourful spin-off series streaming on Amazon IMDb TV. What the f***'s Amazon IMDb? What the f*** IMDb got to do with anything? Does Amazon own IMDb? Isn't that a conflict of interest? Be like, how's that new Amazon Prime show doing? 10 out of 10! Best Shawshank, forget it! Amazon, #1. Under the banner of Judy Justice. Amazon, why didn't you just buy the IP rights or something? Come on. Much to his dismay, Bailiff Bird didn't get an invite to the new show and only learned of it when Judy discussed the plans during a television interview. Wow, that's a dick move. But if you can't bear the thought of change, rest assured that you'll be able to dip into wall-to-wall reruns of the original 4,375 episodes on CBS for at least the next 50 years, or you might just prefer the edited highlights, which I'm sure are on YouTube, because somehow it's like TV clips are still on YouTube. I was watching basically a full movie on YouTube the other day because I just searched for it, expecting to find it in, the paid section, and it just came up like movie. I won't give it away because I don't want to encourage people watching movies for free on YouTube. But I was like, and it was just part 1. And I was like, surely not. And I clicked on it and it was like, oh, this is just 20 minutes of this movie. And then next to the plays was part 2. And I'm just watching this movie entirely for free instead of paying it for it on YouTube. And I'm like,
How innovative. I like it.
and my shit gets demonetized? What the f? This is like a Paramount movie. What's going on? Photographic evidence. Oh, okay, so the introduction's over.
And here we go.
It pays to read the fine print in an eBay description. You might think you've just bagged a brand new PS5 for a bargain bucket price, but you might be disappointed when the package arrives and it turns out to be just an empty PlayStation 5 box. And you'll be even more annoyed when you realize this was actually mentioned within the eBay description, but you just weren't paying close enough attention, and now there's nothing you can do about it. Except that sounds mega deceptive and shouldn't be allowed. I remember there was the famous first case of this where someone was selling an Xbox box. And people were bidding on it, and literally what arrived was an Xbox box. It wasn't a typo, they were just selling the box of the Xbox. It was right there in the title.
I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little.
Whilst it's normally gratifying to see an eBay scammer get their just desserts, this tale from the 2007 episode of Judge Judy has a rather tragic epilogue. Oh god. A mother and daughter had shelled out a total of I'm sorry, Danny, but this happened in 2007. Unless you got a magical time machine, or Judy does, there's no way it was a PlayStation 5. This has got to be like a PlayStation 2. Right? I'm not stupid, am I?
Oh, no, man.
I mean, yes, but am I correct in this? A mother and daughter had shelled out a load of $467 after winning an eBay auction for a couple of cell phones. What's going on? Why are we talking about PS... Oh, I see, I am stupid. Danny was just using the PlayStation 5 as an example, and now we're moving on to something we're actually talking about. Oh my god, I'm so confused. My life is confused. Sometimes I wonder if I'm getting that brain disease, because I'm just like, what's going on? Someone sent me an email the other day, and they were like, yeah, as we discussed about last week. And I'm like, we did, I guess. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, my brain's like a sieve. And they replied, being like, what are you talking about? I meant we, me and this other person. And I'm like, oh. I literally implanted in my mind that we had that discussion because I doubt my own brain so much. What the fuck? I do have a 2-month-old baby, so that could have something to do with it. But, I don't know. Or maybe I've got that brain disease. Who knows? If there are videos in 5 years where it's just like, what is Simon talking about? He's absolutely lost the plot. This was the beginning of it. The beginning of my slow mental decline. That's kind of sad. Ah! When they received the eBay package from the defendant, Ms. Kelly Filkins, they were surprised by the small size and lightweight. Had they just received 2 empty product boxes? No. That would have been a luxury. The mother and daughter had paid $467 in exchange for nothing more than a couple of crap photographs of these cell phones. The exact wording of the eBay description was never disclosed. It could have been the case that Kelly sneakily mentioned somewhere in the description that she was selling 2 photographs rather than 2 cell phones. But what we do know is that the items were listed under the cell phones category rather than the photos category, and the description included the dimensions and weight and technical features of the 2 actual devices. That sounds like you made a mistake there, Kelster, doesn't it? Even if this had not been the case, Kelly would still have probably lost the case on grounds that no reasonable person would have paid over $400 for a couple of crap photographs of phones. I don't know, my experience with eBay is whenever I bought something that isn't right or it's broken or it's shit, you're just like, yo, give me my money back, seller. And the seller might be like, yes, okay, here's your money back. And if they're like, no, I'm not giving you money back, then you're like, yo, eBay, give me my money back. And they take the money directly from the seller's PayPal account because PayPal and eBay are the same company or some shit. And I'm like, as a buyer, cool. As a seller, oh my God, people must be getting scammed all the time.
You're fucked.
But she didn't really help her case or endear herself to the audience by continually smirking and giggling throughout the segment as if she was quite proud of her little scam. Judy quickly lost her patience. She questioned how Kelly even had the nerve to show up at the studio and admit to 10 million viewers that she fooled a couple of gullible buyers into buying her 2 photos.
How dare you?
Although this might have been Judy taking an opportunity to share the latest hit ratings with viewers. Oh, Judy, she's like, humble brag. It's like, how do you show up and look like an idiot in front of millions of people? Literally millions. Millions of people are watching this. All right, Judester, chill out. The case came to a quick conclusion, and Judy simply yelled, "You're an idiot," to Kelly, and awarded the maximum $5,000 to the mother and daughter, which seemed quite generous on her part, as I'm not sure what the other $4,533 was supposed to represent. That's why this is arbitration, not actual court. Because if this was actual court, they'd be like, yo, we're going to appeal that, and it's probably going to go in our favor. But young Kelly didn't appear to mend her crooked ways after she left the studio with the juicy appearance fee. She was later arrested and imprisoned for unrelated fraud. And then following her release, she split up with her husband and lost custody of her children. Kelly was found dead in 2017 after reportedly committing suicide. Oh my God, Danny, thanks, dickhead. It starts off being like, she went to prison for fraud, and she clearly had mental difficulties and killed herself. You look like an idiot, Simon. You look like a right dick. Danny, you had to put it on the different page. I can't read ahead when it's on a different page. I'm always reading like a line ahead, so I don't get myself into too much trouble. But she even managed to arouse suspicion from beyond the grave. Shit. When a GoFundMe campaign was set up by a mother to cover the expenses of Kelly's funeral, oh no, her mother's into it as well. She's like, yeah, she needs a golden casket. Many of Kelly's online critics wondered aloud if this was just another scam in which Kelly was trying to raise money by faking her own death. Holy shit, that's another level. It wasn't. Unleash the dogs of war. Well, that got dark very quickly. Let's lighten the mood a little with dogs. Unless we're talking about a dog genocide, as we've discussed before. Right, Danny? Right? In a case from 2012, a clearly distressed guy was missing his beloved puppy poodle called Baby Boy, who had gone missing from his home. He now believed that the female defendant had his missing dog, but she claims that she had bought her dog from in front of the mall for $50. That itself speaks volumes. If you're in the market for a new dog, please don't buy it from the front of the mall for $50. Unless there's like a dog store at the front of the mall, then go ahead. But if it's just a random, like, homeless looking dude selling dogs, don't do that. It's probably not right. The plaintiff wanted his baby boy back, whilst the defendant argued that she had bought her dog fair and square. And she also argued that it wasn't even the same dog anyway, as a vet had provided paperwork which claimed that the dog was older than the age baby boy was meant to be. Judy didn't seem particularly interested in the paperwork, though. That sounds unprofessional. Though she had a better idea. She was going to let the dog decide to whom he belonged. Judge Judy, are you a real judge? I mean, you're not in this context, you're an arbitrator. But you were a real judge. It's not how it works. A friend of the defendant was asked to bring the little white poodle into the courtroom and place him on the floor, with the idea being that he would naturally run over and greet his true owner. As the pooch was placed on the floor, the defendant didn't seem very happy and started quickly trying to tell her friend not to do what Judy had just instructed, but it was too late. The excited poodle immediately started wagging its tail and ran right over to the plaintiff, and what we assume was an emotional reunion. This is so strange. This isn't how court works. I feel like I'm going to set up a YouTube channel called Judge Simon. And I'll pretend to be a judge and I'll arbitrate decisions where they have absolutely no legal effect whatsoever and is largely pointless. People come to me and I'll just decide randomly based on zero legal knowledge, based on nothing at all other than just what I think will be entertaining. Sounds professional. And the right way to settle disputes? Not. The defendant was heard pleading. He does that to everybody, but the audience couldn't help but notice the baby boy didn't seem to be doing it to her. Oh no! Judy concluded the case by turning to the plaintiff and declaring, "That's all. Take the dog home." I'm not entirely sure if it's a foolproof system. My dog Poppy gets overexcited by the sight of new people, and I'm pretty sure that she would have made me look like a twat if the two of us had appeared on Judge Judy. There's also a small question mark over whether the plaintiff would really have been allowed to take baby boy home. Yeah, there's no legal precedent there. And if it turns out that it is their dog, Judge Judy's been like, she's just been like, yeah, you can steal that dog. That's just theft. That's Judy's been like, yeah, steal that dog. It's an arbitration, it's not a court. There's no legal precedent here. The person whose dog it was could just go to the police and be like, yo, this woman stole my dog. And you can't be like, Judge Judy told me to.
What?
And the police would be like, she's not a real judge. I mean, she was, but she's an arbitrator. It's very different. You're under arrest.
I don't know what happened, I just know what the police said.
The producers of the show reckon that both parties in the case are bound to Judy's decision when it comes to a transfer of property. It's not a transfer of property, it's theft, is it? But this is obviously a very different situation to the more common resolution in which the show just gives everybody a bag of money. Sharon Houston, who worked for 10 years as a producer on other TV court shows, reckons that a TV judge can't legally enforce a transfer of property. Obviously not. In most cases, despite what we see on screen, why are we asking producers on TV court shows? Surely someone would just like ask a f***ing lawyer, you know? Why aren't lawyers involved in this at all? In most cases, despite what we see on screen, no transfer actually takes place, and the producers instead just pay out the cost of the property that was meant to be transferred, bearing in mind that dogs are still sadly legally classed as property. Sadly. It could be the case that the plaintiff was just awarded a few $100s to go out and buy a new dog, ideally from not in front of the mall. However, we do see the plaintiff still holding Buddy Boy during the post-case segment, those bits filmed afterwards in the corridor in which both parties take one last opportunity to slag each other off. So let's hope this story really did have a happy ending. Pistols at lunchtime. You usually don't see a familiar celebrity face on the dock. That's because anybody with a bit of money or reputation will probably find a more dignified way of resolving their civil dispute, which doesn't involve getting a public flogging from a tough-talking TV judge. Yeah, if you're like in a civil thing with someone, don't you just go? Just send your lawyer there. You'd be like, yo, go sort this out for me. I'm famous and rich. For sake. Why am I doing this? I wouldn't even do it in court, let alone in Judge Judy fake ass court.
You betray the law!
You can't really see Hulk Hogan standing there and taking a verbal kick-in from Judy. But it has to be said that Judy wasn't quite as brutal in the very early seasons when the show was still finding its feet. She was even known to crack a smile from time to time, so maybe that's why former Sex Pistols frontman and punk icon John Lydon thought it might be a laugh to show up and maybe even plug his new album and tour whilst he was there. That does sound very Sex Pistols, doesn't it? By 1997, John Lydon had long since abandoned his old moniker of Johnny Rotten, and his Sex Pistols days were well and truly behind him. Well, actually, that's not quite true. Just 1 year earlier, the Sex Pistols had reformed? I feel like in this case it would be reformed, because they formed together again. They reformed rather than reformed, which means like they gave up their Sex Pistol-y ways.
What?
for the money spinning an honestly named filthy lucrator, and would go on to enjoy several more reunions and paydays over the next few years. But the reason for his appearance in the court of Judge Judy had nothing to do with either the Sex Pistols or his subsequent pioneering post-punk outfit, Public Image Limited. Lydon had recently released what remains to date his only solo album, Psycho's Path, but trouble had surfaced on tour with the hired drummer. Robert Williams had previously pounded the skins for Captain Beefheart and, slightly weirdly, Pee Wee Herman. But just a couple of days into John Lydon's 1997 tour, he reckoned that he was assaulted by the former Sex Pistol and then fired from the band. This sounds something for like something for real court, to be honest. He was now seeking damages of $5,000 for assault and battery, lost wages, and breach of contract. It's very modest of you. If I was like this guy, what's his face? Johnny Rotten, what's his real name? John Lydon? I'd be like, yo, here's $5,000, now f*** off. In comparison to John Lydon's outrageously sweary and disrespectful live tea time TV train wreck with Bill Grundy in 1976, he was almost the model of restraint behind the defendant's podium. I mean, he was still John Lydon. True punks never sell out. He became visibly irritated when the plaintiff opened his mouth, and he made a point of interrupting proceedings by blowing his nose in the most comically long-winded manner he could muster. Legend. But he seemed to concede that Judy was in charge and quietened down whenever he was told. Having said that, Judy was probably easier on him than most, even if it was clear that she hadn't the foggiest clue about who he was supposed to be. John Lydon and his co-defendants claimed that drummer Robert's behavior had become increasingly provocative leading up to the tour, but he had left of his own accord. The assault was put down to an unfortunate accident during an argument in the House of Blues in New Orleans, in which Robert accidentally bumped his head on Lydon's chin. Okay. Guys, aren't you supposed to be like hardcore punk people? Like, I kind of expected you to be fighting. And then when you're done fighting, just to be like, hey! And then do some cocaine or something. Why are we taking this to Judge Judy court? What's going on? Why? With little evidence to prove otherwise, Judy ruled in favor of Lydon and advised Robert that if he was looking for a stable, well-organized professional working environment, he might be better off not playing drums for Pee Wee Herman and Johnny Rotten. Another Sex Pistols reunion looked unlikely for John Lydon after his former bandmates took him to real-life court in 2021 and won a legal battle over his refusal to license the band's songs in an upcoming film by Danny Boyle. Ooh, that sounds exciting. But he still keeps himself busy. In recent years, the man who used to sing Anarchy in the UK has been competing in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Oh no. That's when you know your star has fallen, though. It's when you start appearing in like Big Brother 17 and it's like, celebrity guest! And it's like, who the f***'s this? When were they famous? And for what? I mean, John Lydon, at least you're in the Sex Pistols, but why are you doing this? Don't do this. It's below you. Don't do it. And he's dressed up in tweed in riveting TV commercials for Country Life Butter. Oh, Johnny, no. Why? This is below you, Johnny. You were properly famous. Like I said, true punks never sell out. Oh, Johnny. Don't tell them your name, Pike. Perhaps one of the most famous, funniest, and certainly the shortest cases ever witnessed on Judge Judy lasted a mere 26 seconds in total. Holy shit. In an episode from 2010, an 18-year-old student named Ginny Paradisa was seeking $500. That's a great name. Paradisa was seeking $500 from two former classmates who she alleged had stolen her purse, but they both vehemently denied the charge. Ginny revealed to the judge that the purse contained $50 in cash, but she had to mess around getting her ID stuff changed, and the purse also contained a few gift cards, a calculator, and an earpiece. Calculator, brilliant. I need that $3 for a new calculator. What the f***? Why isn't there an earpiece in there? What sort of earpiece? Do you mean headphones? Like earpiece. For my spy duties. At this point, one of the defendants snapped and interrupted the proceedings. He felt that Ginny was telling porkies to the judge, and he wasn't about to take this line down. He quickly blurted out,
there was no earpiece in her mouth.
I love it.
Whoops-a-doodle. Whoops, yes, indeed. It would have been interesting if Ginny had intentionally mentioned a bogus item in the inventory, such as a banana skin, just to see if it might slip up one of the two defendants. Judy simply burst out laughing after branding the defendants dumb and dumber. She awarded the full damages to Ginny and left the courtroom.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $500. That's what I think it's worth, madam. Goodbye.
Might have worked out better if Dumb and Dunner had just pleaded the fifth. Yes. I'm not sure if there's a joke there, but yeah, they should have shut the up. Cool for cats. You're about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Judy. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. The people are real, except for all the extras. The cases are real, except it's arbitration. And the rulings are final, except they're not, because it's not real.
Really, bitch? Thank you so much for wasting my motherfucking time.
Okay, the opening narration of every episode gets a few things right. As we've already established, it's not a real courtroom and she's no longer a judge. I'm sure the people are real though, but what about the cases? Oh no, are they just making these up? Well, they maybe not are always entirely genuine. One particular case from 2010 involved a group of musicians who appeared to be feuding over the drunken accidental killing of an innocent cat. Katie Levitt from a psychedelic/drone band, what the is that? Called Teeth Mountain, oh my god, was suing her former friend Jonathan Coward. That's an unfortunate name. From the similarly obscure noise band Shams. If your surname's Coward, don't you get that changed at some point? Doesn't your grandpappy be like, I don't know why my family got the name Coward, but I'm gonna change my name to Hero. Katie claimed that she had thrown a party at which Jonathan got absolutely plastered and ended up smashing 3 television sets against a wall in true rock star fashion. Legend. Unfortunately, when the second TV set fell back down to the floor, it crushed and killed Kate's pet cat. Oh my god, that's the most rock star thing ever.
Is suing her former friend, Kate Levitt, for killing her TV when he threw her cat across the room.
What?
I mean, these guys, I've never heard of them, so I assume they're not big-time rock stars. But that is pretty rock and roll, to be honest. The plaintiff was now seeking $1,000 in damages from the broken television sets and the squashed cat. Jonathan's defense was pretty weak. He just kind of shrugged and said, I was pretty wasted, but I don't think I ever killed a cat. Judge Judy didn't seem convinced that a cat had died during this incident, as it didn't appear in any of the photographic evidence that Kate had brought along, and there was a noticeable lack of blood in any of the photographs. She still found in favour of Kate and awarded damages in full, but that's not the important bit. The important bit is that Kate, Jonathan, and the other parties involved were all just pissing about and had concocted the story to get on TV and grab some free money. Why didn't you throw a little fake blood down on the floor then? Be like, look, yeah, check it out. Lazy.
Fucking amateur. Walter.
The truth wasn't revealed until 4 years later in 2014 when Jonathan confessed to the scam in Vice magazine. He admitted that the gang had cooked up the story in a bid to get an all-expenses-paid trip to Sunset Boulevard while pocketing around $2,000 in total from the judge's ruling and appearance fees. Upon leaving the studios, the gang rented a convertible, took a trip to Malibu, and spent the rest of the day drinking champagne in a hot tub. I f***ing love it.
I love it.
I'm sure there's fraud or something illegal here, and I'm not sure why you're admitting it to Vice. I've got another show called Casual Criminalist. It's just so often people are just wantonly admitting to crimes in the media, and I'm like, yo. I mean, they might not follow up. They probably won't, but maybe they will. Maybe that's not the best idea in the world, because it sounds like a crime. It sounds like, legendary crime, mad respect. I mean, not really, allegedly. But I mean, it's kind of cool, right? But don't then tell Vice about it. Just enjoy your champagne in the hot tub and then shut the f*** up forever. Both Judy and the production team may have had a slight inkling that something fishy was afoot. Jonathan recalls that during the evening before filming, the producer had warned them that the whole thing was off if these supposed former friends tried to claim back receipts from the same restaurant. And Jonathan also reckoned that Judy had sussed them out purely because we were lying, and she listens to people lie all the day.
You foul, loathsome, evil little cockroach!
Hermione, no!
It seems as if the show was happy for the charade to continue in a kind of nudge-wink kind of way, as long as nobody blatantly let the squash cat out of the bag. Of course they are, because it's super entertaining. Look how much fun we're having just reading about it after the fact. It's great television, and it doesn't matter to them if it's real or not. They paid them overall 10 grand, but they get a section of the TV show which makes them millions. Everyone wins. No one is unhappy. You'd think that committing feline fraud in Judge Judy's courtroom might not be the smartest idea, but it appears they were never challenged to return the money. I do wonder about the particular oversight in their cunning scheme, though. Why on earth did they fabricate a story that involved the maximum allowed damages of $5,000 instead of settling for a measly 1,000 bloody amateurs? Still, it's good to know that no cats were squashed in the making of this scam. But when the flawed format makes everyone involved a winner, it does make you wonder just how many other cases witnessed over those 4,375 episodes episodes may have been bordering on the bogus. I imagine a lot, allegedly. I suspect that it was a lot more than just one or two. You're about to leave the courtroom of Judge Judy. The judge was fake. The room was fake. Some of the cases were dubious. The free meal tickets were real. The opportunities were frankly criminal.
Oh my God! Wow!
Oh, this has been an episode of Brain Blaze. Thank you so much for watching, dear viewer. It's always wonderful to have you with me. If you'd like to purchase some merch, just go to purchasethemerch.co. And as always, thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time. Yes, you will. Yeah, you will. I'm not stupid, am I?
Oh no, man.
I mean, yes, but am I correct in this?